DEI, you've heard a lot about that, certainly in the last couple of weeks. What is it? And is it dying everywhere? Joining us is Victoria Mattingly, founder of the Pittsburgh-based DEI consulting firm, Mattingly Solutions. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So a lot of people maybe really didn't pay close attention and don't even know what DEI really is and where it started. So kind of walk us through that. What is DEI?
So DEI, I feel like, has become this term that has, turned into something like a boogeyman, right? But when we actually break down what the individual letters mean, it makes good sense for business. So diversity is just the differences that we bring into the workplace every day. And we all fit into those categories, right? We all have a race. We all have a gender. We all have a sexual orientation. The E is equity, so it's fairness, that people are treated fairly and getting fair outcomes. And the inclusion piece means that we're treated in such a way that makes us feel valued, respected, seen, and heard. So when it comes down to DEI, it's just treating our many different people in the workplace with the fairness and the respect that they deserve.
And how long has this been part of our federal government? Do you know?
DEI has been around for a very long time, for decades. It initially started in the civil rights movement in the 60s. Then we had EEOC and affirmative action. So this has been going on for a very long time.
So people understand this predates Joe Biden and Donald Trump's last administration. This goes back, to your point, through many administrations, Republican and Democratic, correct?
Correct.
And now, with the executive memo and executive orders that have been posted, we're seeing sweeping changes. So is DEI dying, or what's your take?
DEI is not dying. DEI is evolving. So it's still happening in many organizations. Even the big corporations that have, quote unquote, pulled out of DEI still have a function that's responsible for those diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. Now it's being called a different name. It's being called belonging or just inclusion or culture and engagement. But big companies know, and all companies know, if they're doing business right, that if you take care of your people, which is what DEI is really about, that's good for business. And so it might be called a different name. It's going to be a lot more quiet than it's been over the last few years, but it is evolving. It is absolutely not dying. And especially here in Pittsburgh, I threw an event last week that had over 30 DEI leaders from some of the biggest companies here in the Burgh. And even though we know we're going through an evolution, we're still very much committed to this work.
We're with Victoria Mattingly here in Pittsburgh, her consulting firm dealing with DEI issues. So it's evolving, but on paper, in a perfect world, everybody should be equal, but we know in history that hasn't been the case. So what do you see as the immediate future for our federal government?
The federal government is in disarray right now with these executive orders. DEI is getting shut down. I was doing some work with NASA and got a really sad email announcing how the work is ending, and for the foreseeable future, a lot of people in DEI roles in the federal government are losing jobs, and also federal contractors aren't able to work in those capacities anymore because of the executive order. But I think something really important to remember is that the private organizations, public organizations, non-government institutions aren't subject to the executive order and can and should continue doing the work.
Well, we appreciate you taking time this morning. Good luck and thank you.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Victoria Mattingly, founder of the Pittsburgh-based DEI consulting firm Mattingly Solutions, on the Big K Morning Show.
All the news you need for your day.